Hello everyone, my name is Raghav Khosla, and in today's video, me and my friend Connor will be predicting the 2020-2021 Premier League table. Connor, do you want to introduce yourself, maybe your favorite team?
Um, yeah, I'm Connor Green, and my favorite team is Tottenham Hotspurs.
Yeah.
So big
I'm a
rival of
Chelsea
Raga.
fan, so we have a bit of a rivalry there, but in this
Yeah,
video, we'll
oof.
try our best to not be biased, but let's go ahead and start. So in 20th place, a team that will be getting relegated this year, in my opinion, is West Brom. They were promoted this year. However, I don't think they have the talent to stay up or the experience. They have no new signings, no defense. It's just an attacking team, in my opinion.
So yeah, I put in 20th place Burnley.
Burnley, okay.
I kind of feel that they just don't have the good enough skill, good enough team to stay up at this time. I feel there's a lot more competition now compared to what it was last season. I feel like they stay in the Premier League barely, and I feel like this time they're going to get relegated due to their just team not being as strong as many of the others.
I actually don't have Burnley getting relegated, so I'll talk about Burnley and why I don't think they'll be relegated. Who do you have in 19th?
19, I also have West Brom.
West
So
Brom.
I
Yeah,
just pretty much what you said. They're new to the Premier League, and they're just not really like like Southampton, say, for example. They're more of a solid team, and they most likely won't drop down. But West Brom just seem like one of those teams that's going to get relegated.
yeah, and like sometimes you have these lower table teams. They have like this one star that I'll be mentioning later on for some
Mhm.
teams that like carries them. But West Brom has no one like that, and I think they made the Premier League in the playoff. They didn't even win the championship, so I don't have high hopes for West Brom. The other team, I think, another team that'll be relegated is Fulham, who I have in 19th. They're again a team that just got promoted through the playoff, and while they have some talent, it's not Premier League talent for them. It's championship talent, and I don't think they'll last too long in the Premier League.
I kind of disagree with that actually. I
So,
put Fulham like
well,
kind of higher up than a few other teams. I put Aston Villa down in 18th due to
Aston
their
Villa.
performance last season,
Okay.
where they just barely
Yeah.
scraped out of the relegation. I put them in 18th, getting relegated. I feel like you mentioned earlier, with the carrying, I feel like Jack Grealish is the main reason that Aston Villa do stay up. He pretty much carried their team out of the relegation last season. I feel like he may try to do it this season, but I don't think it'll be enough.
Yeah, I'll get into Aston Villa. I have them a spot higher, spoiler alert. But in 18th,
Mhm.
I have Brighton, a team I thought would have gotten relegated last year if it weren't for Neil Maupay. I think he had 10 plus goals. He really kept them
Yeah.
afloat. But if he can't, I don't expect him to get 10 plus goals this year. And if Leandro Trossard can't help him out, besides Lewis Dunk, who Chelsea tried to sign actually, if besides him, I don't see any talented players in Brighton that can help them keep them afloat. And I think they have no new signings, no support for Maupay. They're gonna get relegated this year. Who do you have in 17th?
I have in 17th Newcastle.
Newcastle. Okay.
Now I've seen they've been making quite a few like transfers with a few players. I'm pretty sure they got two players from Watford, or was that Crystal
And
Palace?
they got some good names. I'll be mentioning
Yeah.
those later. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think they're going to go too far with what they got, but I think they'll be above relegation. I don't think they may end up placing higher. I probably got a few of these a little bit mixed up,
Hmm.
but I think other than that, I think they're still going to be like mid-bottom table.
Yeah. In Newcastle, I don't have them too high either, but in 17th, I have Aston Villa. I think Jack Grealish, he again will keep them afloat. I mean, they do have some support for Grealish and guys like Trezeguet,
Hmm.
Tyrone
Yeah.
Mings, but it's nowhere near enough to be in the top 15 team. But Jack Grealish, he's a really really good English player, and I think his leadership as a captain and his talent will keep them afloat. You know, he'll score some like these late minute goals against
Yeah.
like quality oppositions that will keep them afloat. I'll go from 16. At 16, I have Crystal Palace. I think
I have.
besides
Oh, sorry. Continue.
besides Zaha, again they don't have too much, but Zaha again, like Grealish, will definitely keep them up. And they have a decent manager in Roy Hodgson. he's made some great decisions. Like his in game, he's a great in game tactician, and I think that will be crucial for them getting those like for relegation teams that are contending for like relegation. They always need like these last minute winners to keep them afloat. And I feel with both Aston Villa and Crystal Palace, they have the people to do that for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 16th, yeah, I have Brighton.
Brighton. Okay.
Yeah. So pretty much the same reasons from earlier as you mentioned. How I just don't think they're a good enough team to be in that top half or even like the top middle area.
Yeah.
They just don't really have as many stars as some other teams will. Some of the teams do have, so I feel like that's kind of dragging them down.
Yeah.
Unless they start making some like bigger transfers, I don't think they're going to go very far.
Yeah, for sure. And I think so. The next team I'll be mentioning at 15th, I have Newcastle, and I think any one of those 6 teams that we mentioned, from Newcastle to West Brom for me, I think any of those teams can get relegated. After Newcastle, for me, I think teams are relatively going to stay afloat, but you never know. I definitely feel Newcastle. Again, they have some talent in Saint-Maximin, the Frenchman. Callum Wilson, they signed. Jamal Lewis, they signed. So they made some. They've been like active in the transfer market. You never know, they might click, which is why I think they'll stay afloat. But again, they're not in a position to really challenge top 6 opposition. Who do you have in 15?
I agree. In 15th, I have Crystal Palace. So I'll like bottom 5, 6 is pretty similar. We just have them in slightly different places.
Yeah.
Like you said, like it's pretty much just a few good players carrying their team. I feel like they're a pretty solid team. Like they can win games as we've seen. But I feel like unless they start making more differences in the games they play, the way their team plays as a full team, I think they're just going to keep in that general area.
Yeah. So I agree with you that we have like most of our teams, the same relegation teams, except one. I have Burnley in 14th. I think with Nick Pope, you're an English guy. Do you think he's your best goalkeeper? I think he is right now.
I don't know. I'm kind of confused why we start Pickford, because I think that's a silly mistake.
Yeah,
Pickford's probably the worst of the 3.
Henderson or Pope?
I'd probably say I prefer Henderson than Pope.
But yeah, still, Pope is a great goalkeeper. And Burnley is one of those teams that they have like that. They're the type of team that will score 1 goal and then park the bus. And I think they have their big body defenders. They just annoy teams. They have a solid defensive line, which is why I feel that will keep them in 14th, as they will frustrate top teams. As I think they almost beat Chelsea last year because.
But I do feel like they kind of get tired as the game goes on. If they are conceding goals against the big teams, they then don't put in as much effort. As you saw, Tottenham beat them 5-0. After like the second goal, they just pretty much stopped trying.
Yeah, that's true. So it's all about for them getting the first goal. But I think that Nick Pope in goal, I was surprised that I wanted Chelsea to grab him, but they didn't. So I think having Pope will definitely help them out.
14th, right? I put Southampton in 14th.
Oh, okay.
Now my next 3 are probably shiftable. I probably switch Fulham to where Southampton is, or Leeds to where Southampton is, because my next 3 is Southampton, Leeds, Fulham.
Okay.
So I think Southampton mainly gets carried by one main player, Danny Ings. He got, how many goals did he get last season? Like 19, I'm pretty sure. 22?
22.
Oh yeah, wait, he was the same as Aubameyang, something like that. He had a really, really good season, but he can't just rely on that. I mean, they have a few other people like Ward-Prowse and a few more, but it's not enough to make them top 10, I don't think.
And I think they lost Højbjerg to you guys, to Spurs.
Yeah.
So that'll be a tough loss.
That was a big kill to them because he was their captain. And
he was their captain,
he was the highest pass interceptor and kind of the anchor of the team.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be a big loss for them. I actually considered that when I was making mine, but then that I would also move them around a bit lower. But in 13th, I have West Ham, a London club. They have a great manager, a good manager in David Moyes. They have talented players, Issa Diop, Declan Rice, who could come to Chelsea, you never know. And again, they're a team like Burnley. They just frustrate you. They'll score 1 goal and then park the bus. And they're very
I kind of disagree with that.
Yeah?
I put them in the top 10 because I think from some of the performances they've had, they can play really well,
Yeah,
and then some of the performances they can play really bad.
yeah.
Like from the restart,
yeah,
they were doing really, really well. They were
yeah.
beating big teams like Chelsea,
Beat Chelsea. It was a
and
tough loss.
Antonio was doing really well. They have some pretty good players, like the new guy that they just signed. They've got Suchek Yarmolenko, who've been playing pretty decently.
Yeah.
Antonio plays well.
Antonio, yeah, he got 4 goals in a game.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I
Suchek is a great.
say West Ham are actually pretty good.
I don't know. I think their volatility will, because of the restart was such a small sample size. I don't think they'll be able to maintain that form across.
I think if they put in more effort, I think they could do it.
But what do you think if they lose Rice to Chelsea?
If they lose Rice, it may be a bit more difficult for him because he's like the midfield man. He's like the
he's
controller of the game.
Yeah.
They do have people like Noble though,
Hmm.
who also
Target,
kind of does
I think
things like
Target
that.
as well. Yeah, they have
Mhm.
decent players, but I don't know. I think they can be very volatile. Who do you have in 13th?
13th, I put Leeds.
Leeds. Yeah, I have them in 12th.
So I don't really know much about Leeds. I haven't really followed too many championship teams. So I don't know. They usually because I'm pretty sure some teams that come up do actually end up doing pretty well. So it just could be one of those teams that comes up and either plays really well, plays bad, or plays like kind of mediocre. So I put them in 13th because I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, they could be alright, but they also might be kind of bad.
I have them in 12th because of their manager, Marcelo Bielsa. I've heard, I've read about him since. See, I didn't know much about Leeds until they got promoted, but then I did some research about them. They have some decent players. They signed a good player in Rodrigo, a Spanish striker. He's getting up there in age. He's around 30, but he still is very good. And he had a decent Premier League run when he was with Bolton as a loanee. Marcelo Bielsa, their manager, is a tactical genius, and he's really inspired the high intensity, high press game that Pep Guardiola ran, because Bielsa is quite old. So I think his coaching will put them in the 12th, 13th spot despite being newly promoted.
I really think they have some pretty good ideas going forward with their team and who they want to get.
Yeah.
They're really trying right now to make themselves like Premier League level, and I think if they continue doing this, they will be a pretty solid team.
Definitely.
But just for the moment in time right now, I don't think they're slightly good enough to get top 10 yet.
I can see where you're coming from. Who do you have in 12th?
In 12th, I put Fulham.
Fulham. Okay.
Because I feel like they're a pretty solid team. They have pretty good tactics in the way they play. They have some pretty decent players as well, from what I've seen and heard of. So I feel like they're just one of those teams, like Southampton a bit, where they have a few good players that's going to help them. And I feel like they have a pretty good, strong team. So yeah, I feel like they could do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, they do have talent, but I don't think that talent will do as well as they did in the Championship as they will in the Premier League. I mean, they have their last run in the Premier League wasn't that great. I think they got relegated right away. But you never know. I think they have a decent captain. He's been the anchor of the team for a while now. Maybe he can lead them to not getting relegated. In 11th, I have Southampton. I think I have them in 11th with an if Danny Ings can play as well as he did, or he can score 15, 16 goals but get support from his teammates. I feel he can really get support, but as you said, they lost Højbjerg, so I forgot that. So actually, right now, I would move West Ham and Southampton. So I would move West Ham to 11th, Southampton to 13th right now. But Danny Ings will really help them. James Ward-Prowse, again, another name that will help them stay afloat. But they were also good in defense in the restart, I remember. So I think if they continue that form, they'll definitely be a mid-table team this year. What do you have in 11th?
11th, I have Everton.
Okay.
Now, I think they're making good signings. They have a great manager. They have already good players in Calvert-Lewin and what's his name? I forget his name.
Solanke?
No, who's Richarlison? That's it.
Richarlison.
I forgot his name for some reason.
Yeah.
They have good players in Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, and they have some other decent players. They have the England goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're a pretty good team. They win against pretty big opponents, but they also lose.
They lost 4-0.
It's one of those teams that, it's one of those teams that depends on the day how they play.
Yeah, I definitely see that. So I have them relatively close to where you have them, but in 10th I have Sheffield. So I mean, they had a great season last year, being like they
Mhm.
really challenged some top oppositions, beating Chelsea 2-0 in the restart as well. Not a fun day for me, but and we drew with them the first time we played them.
Beating Tottenham 3-1 as well.
Yeah, and they played
I
really.
will say though, Harry Kane, 3 goals disallowed.
Yeah. Oh, in that game or in the
Hmm
oh in that
In the
game.
Sheffield United game,
Oh, damn.
3 goals disallowed and scored
That
the
can be
last
a
one.
whole nother video, the VAR. But
VAR chats.
yeah, VAR
Do we
check.
agree with this?
But I have Sheffield in 10th because I mean they had I
Hmm
think they were 7th or 8th this year or ninth in fact. But I think they'll drop down a bit. I mean teams like this sometimes they have a bad second season, but I think they'll stay disciplined. They have a great system which they run with the inverted center backs, the full backs I meant, and they got Ethan Mpadu from Chelsea. I think that'll be a good loanee for them. So I think they'll still stay disciplined, but they're also losing Dean Henderson. So
Yeah,
going back to
that is a
United, so
big
that might be because
that is a big blow to them.
he saved them a lot.
He did.
Yeah,
He was probably one of the best performing goalkeepers in the Premier League for that season.
yeah. So who do you have in 10th?
In 10th, all right, this is not me being biased.
Yeah,
I have Arsenal in 10th.
in
Now,
10th.
yeah, because, all right, hear me out. They were in 10th for like half of the Premier League season last season. I feel like because of their defense and because of how shaky their midfield can be, I feel like they're going to place in 10th this season.
Okay.
From watching some of their previous games, okay, they've had good games and they do kind of get carried by Aubameyang. Other than that, there's always constant mistakes. Pretty much every game you see a mistake from Arsenal. Either whether it's David Luiz, Mustafi, someone like that is always making mistakes. And you see that pretty much every game, maybe every other Arsenal game. That's why I feel like they're going to place 10th just because of the amount of mistakes that they end up making.
Okay. I mean, I can see them being low, but 10th is a bit too low for me for Arsenal, but I don't have them much higher, so like we've sort of agreed on that. But I think a team with their attacking chops with like Martinelli, Aubameyang, Pepe, they have a great attack. So I think this I agree with you. Their defense is horrible. So
Yeah.
but I think they won't be as low as you think they will be, but you never know. In 10th
Maybe like
yeah.
8th or 9th, I might put them. Depends on because I forgot that Sheffield United got rid of Henderson, or he went
yeah,
to
he went back.
United.
Yeah.
So I probably moved them to 8th.
Okay. Yeah, that's still respectable. In 9th, I have Everton. So again, with like you were saying, they had some great like off-season acquisitions in Allen and James Rodriguez. But I think they'll take time to gel under Ancelotti, and they're another team that have been very volatile this year, last year. So I don't expect too much from Everton. Like guys like Calvert-Lewin, Moise Kean, I don't think they're living up to what their potential could have been. And it's James. He played the best football of his career under Ancelotti, but I don't think it will sustain.
I think they could be a pretty good team
Yeah.
if the players knuckle down, get to work. They make sure that they're going out there winning games. They're trying as hard as they can.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see like some of the first games coming up, just to see like how everyone's going to play. I know Tottenham plays Everton as their first game, so I'm kind of nervous for that because it's not an easy opponent. No Premier League opponent is easy, really.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Who do you have in 9th?
9th place, I have West Ham.
Oh, okay. You have them.
So this is where I put them.
Yeah.
So I have them in the top part because I will say at the start of last season, they were in like the top 4, like within like the first 5 games or something like that. I'm pretty sure they were playing really well. It just started when it started to go like more and more games. It looked like they were getting more tired, and I feel like Moy just needs to probably get in some more younger players for like maybe the front, the sides, just some more like backup players. I feel like because they did just lose the really young kid. They sold him to.
You're right. They did lose someone, and I don't think they were happy about that.
No, I know Noble came out and said something saying how he was really disappointed in the club for letting him go.
I forgot the name, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be kind of a big blow because he was highly regarded, but they didn't really play him that much. I mean, I haven't really seen him do much. So, I mean, if he isn't really helping, then I guess it's not going to make much of a difference. But
Yeah.
yeah, I have them in ninth place. I really think they could be a top 10 team if they show the way they played. They like start playing the way they played after the restart and the start of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they had great form in the restart. So if they could
They did, yeah.
maintain that, and not even like fully, but if they can maintain that, they can definitely end up as a top 10 team.
Mhm.
In eighth place, I have a team that played quite well last year, Leicester City. I
Mhm.
think so. They should have been top 4 last year. As a Chelsea fan, I'm glad they didn't play well in the restart, but I definitely feel with the way they played before the restart, they deserved top 4. I mean, they were third for the longest time, but they lost Chilwell to Chelsea. Ricardo Pereira is gone with an injury for almost 4 months.
Mhm.
They have a tough start to the season. And Vardy, I think he's getting old. I mean, he's 32, 33. He's in the twilight of his career. The way he started last season, I don't think he's going to play that well he won't play that well this year. And I honestly, I mean, they have some good young guys. Ndidi in the midfield, Tielemans in the midfield. Harvey Barnes, Damari Gray. They have decent young players, but I think they just need more experience. They're young players, and their old players are getting too old. So I think it's a bit of a transitional period for Leicester. So it'll be tough getting European football for them this year.
Mhm.
Who do you have in
See, I put them one place higher. So,
Oh.
I mean, I pretty much agree with most of those things you said. I still think they have a good, solid team, though.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I put them in 7. Okay.
Okay.
8, Sheffield.
Yeah.
Sheffield United. I
They-
mean, I'd probably switch them with Arsenal because of the fact they lost
Yeah.
goalkeeper. So that's the main reason I put them there, because he was legit one of the best goalies in the Prem that season.
Definitely.
And they had a really good season. Like, we can't take that away from them. They're not like a City or a Liverpool,
Yeah.
like top players, and they did really well.
Yeah.
They were beating top teams.
They had a great chemistry. They followed they were very
They did,
disciplined
yeah.
in the back. It's tough breaking that opposition. Yeah. So I mean, Sheffield in 8th is justified for me too. I see where you're going with that. In 7th, I have Arsenal. I mean, they had despite like some promising signs under Arteta, I don't trust in their defense, dude. I mean, they did sign Gabriel, the Brazilian defender, but not enough. Devin,
Yeah,
Mustafa.
they need to pretty much rebuild their entire defense if they want to get
I think the only player that can
higher up.
named is their new signing Gabriel and Kieran Tierney, the left back. But
I think he's too aggressive though.
yeah, he's an attacking fullback for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they have good goalkeepers and they have two arguably starting 11 goalkeepers in Martinez and Leno. And you're right, their midfield can be very shaky. I didn't realize that. I think that could move them down and put Leicester above them for me. But I mean, I've seen some Arsenal fans saying they'll make top 4. That's definitely not happening. I don't think so. Like, I mean, Arteta is a decent manager, and they won the FA Cup, but if Aubameyang can't carry them, they're going nowhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true.
Mm.
So I have Leicester City.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, they do have people like Vardy who had an amazing season. I mean, he won the Golden Boot.
Yeah.
If he plays like that, I think they can be at that point. As long as his team also helps him.
Yeah.
But I feel like they need to. A lot of their plays will just pass it to Vardy and hope he scores. Pass it to Vardy, hope he scores.
Yeah.
They gotta sort out their entire team. Make sure they're working together like a padlock. You know, they're all like locked together.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they do too much yet. But I think if they do, they'll be pretty high up there.
Yeah. Like when they won the Prem, like they were based off of team football. Like Mahrez, Conte, they all supported Vardy, but now it's too much reliance on Vardy, which is why I think they
Don't
want.
remind me of that year. I don't want to remember those years.
That's a tough year for you, man.
We choked. What can we say? We choked.
Yeah, that's again another video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in 6th, so now we start with European football. So Europa League, I think Wolves. They had a surprising season under Nuno, their manager, and they've added another Portuguese player, adding to their crop of Portuguese players. But they had some great games. I'm surprised honestly, I was very scared for that last game as a Chelsea fan when we came up. I didn't expect a 2-0 win. I didn't think they played the way they've played the whole season. They didn't look as disciplined as they have been. Like their comebacks against Manchester City, amazing football with the
And
way.
against Tottenham,
Yeah, and against
they won
Tottenham.
3-2. That was a shocking game.
Yeah, and they have a great talented core with Raul Jimenez, Adama
Mhm.
Traore, dude, that guy's a beast. Connor
He
Cody,
is.
Ruben Neves, João Moutinho. They have some solid players in there.
They do.
Young
They do.
players, Pedro Neto. So I definitely see them again making European football.
I also put them sixth place. Like you said, they had a great season. They do have good players. Even their manager's really good as well. I
Yeah.
think. I think at the restart though, they didn't seem like themselves. They seemed tired. They seemed like they lost. Like the same thing happened pretty much with Sheffield.
Yeah.
They had a couple good games, but they seemed tired at the restart. They had just gone from like up here to down there. I think that's really what like kind of ruined their last bit of their season.
Yeah,
Without the restart,
you could really
the
tell.
table probably wouldn't have been different.
Yeah, if there wasn't any like restart, you could tell some teams were better prepared for it than others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
It's like the bigger teams.
yeah, not like,
would,
like
like,
the bigger teams
do better than the not as good ones because the subs made a big
yeah,
impact.
they have the depth. Teams like City, Liverpool, Chelsea, they have the depth. But in fifth, I have your team, Tottenham. I have 4 teams. I mean, I think they definitely have top 3, in fact, talent in the arguably best striker in the world, Harry Kane. Great wingers, Bergwijn, Son, Mora. They have a talented team, and I think they can do better than 5th. It's just about the consistency with Tottenham, in my opinion. Under Mourinho, I mean, Mourinho has done so much for Chelsea. He's known as the special one. But with his personality, with some of the personalities, you've already had a falling out between Ndombele and Mourinho. And Ndombele saying he's not going to play another game under Mourinho. See, another year with Mourinho and Tottenham, I think there's a lot of personalities in that team that will definitely clash with Mourinho, and that might cost you guys Champions League again. That's why I'm in 5th.
In 5th, I put United.
Okay.
I feel like they're not going to have another season of just penalty, because that would just be ridiculous at that point.
Yeah,
They had like 24 penalties.
Yeah, it was so stupid. It was
in the season.
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes comes in. That's going to like get a lot of hate, but it's true. He came in, he scored penalties. Manchester United got Champions League because of Fernandes scoring penalties. That's pretty much what got them there. They have a great team, I will say. They do have good players, but De Gea, he's not playing as well as he used to.
But they got Henderson.
Maguire and Lindelof, I don't think are a solid enough defense.
Maguire's in jail too. We don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah, he's in jail.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have people like Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, James, like all these younger players and all these like they're pretty good. Like
Yeah.
I must say, Greenwood's been absolutely shocking a lot of his talent so far. It's kind of disappointing to see him get taken out of the England squad, but
Yeah.
I mean, it was coronavirus rules, so I mean, he did break them. That's
yeah.
his own fault.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I agree with you. I could move around Tottenham or United because I actually completely forgot about how many penalties they've scored. So, but they do. I think their defense they got a good player in Donny van de Beek. But so yeah, actually, let me get into 4th. I have United in 4th. They were one of the best teams in the since the acquisition of Bruno. But again, it was mainly because of penalties. They have a very talented team, but I think they're too reliant on their starting 11. I mean, they're too reliant on Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood. I think if one of them goes down for a prolonged period, you never know. It's football. He can tear his ACL, which is so unfortunate, but it's reality. Daniel James, I mean, he is fast, but he's too weak, I feel. Jesse Lingard is just gone. I don't know what's wrong.
Jesse Lingard.
They have talent attacking wise in that midfield with Fernandes, Pogba, and Van de Beek now, but their defense, it's not a good defense. They like all the United fans were hoping to get like Upamecano. I don't think that's gonna happen. They're not gonna get Sancho either. So I honestly could see Tottenham pushing for that 4th position and United.
So right here, I have the Premier League table from last season, right? Man United, 66 goals. So
Yeah.
pretty much a third of their goals in their season were from penalties.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen again unless the
It
league.
can't happen.
Yeah,
It really cannot happen.
yeah,
If it does, then it is rigged.
yeah.
Like, I think
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
crazy.
So I actually, you know what? You're a Tottenham fan, and I see your point. Let's move Tottenham to fourth in my list, and we'll move United down.
Okay.
Yeah, but who do you have in fourth?
Okay, so this one's probably gonna shock you, right? So I have Liverpool in fourth.
In fourth? Well,
I do.
mean, spoiler.
All right, let me explain.
You explain.
Right. Okay, so fourth place after the restart, and well, even after they like pretty much got the title. All right, you don't have to try as much, but when they looked like they were, when they had their full teams, they were playing pretty bad. I will say they made lots of mistakes. They were really sloppy.
Mhm.
I feel like Liverpool did get quite lucky in a lot of their games where they had last minute winners or last minute penalties, or they did have some games where, okay, you won by a large margin. But then when they came against top teams like City and Chelsea and Tottenham and United, they struggled a lot more. Like United were the first team to take points away from them.
Mhm.
I remember City beating them 4-0 and they had a goal disallowed, so it should have been 5-0 really.
And Chelsea, it was
I
5-3.
Don't think they'll maintain that number 1 or 2 slot just because I feel like they're slowly decreasing.
Yeah, definitely. Completely agree with you. That's why I have them in third.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not gonna count out the talent they have. They have arguably like 3 of the top 10 players in the world, and Salah, Mane, and Van Dijk. But again, it's a championship hangover season. I feel sometimes they're like, oh, we won the Prem. Let's, they're not gonna put in that effort because
Sometimes, yeah, they will do that, but I guess they could be like sitting there like, oh, we want to win again. Let's
Yeah.
prove ourselves.
that's true.
So it really depends. And also, they have good people, like you said, like Salah, and they have Van Dijk, and all these like talents like Arnold now and Robertson, who are
Yeah.
really, really great fullbacks.
Yeah,
They've had an amazing season.
yeah,
But they do have people like Firmino, who's their number 1 striker, and he's scoring less than 10 goals in the season. His second to last game for Liverpool was his first goal at home.
yeah.
Like, I don't think that's good enough.
Yeah.
They bought Minamino, and
He's
he
good.
hasn't scored a goal for Liverpool.
Yeah,
His first goal for Liverpool was a friendly against Salzburg, the team
Yeah.
he came from, I'm pretty
and
sure.
and I feel sorry to cut you off, but I think
Yeah, fine.
another team that is too reliant on their starting 11.
Hmm.
Like, I don't think they possess the missing. So I remember for like a good 6 months they were the favorites to get Timo Werner, but that didn't end up happening. And
Yeah.
the only look, City's going out and getting guys like Nathan Ake. Tottenham's getting Højbjerg, not world-class players, but players that are going to help them out. Højbjerg, Doherty, United getting Donny van de Beek, Arsenal getting the defender. Liverpool got a backup fullback. Like, that's not, if you're, that's not enough in my opinion. You might need
Yeah.
3 seasons of seeing the same team again. Teams also adapt, it's not just Liverpool
Mhm.
dominating. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you have in third?
Third place, I have Tottenham.
Okay.
So, as much as I'm like, yes, let's win the league, I do think they do have a chance. If we buy 1 or 2 more good players, I feel like they have a solid chance to
Where do
win
you
if
need
they
a
put in the effort.
Where do you think? Where do you think you need players?
Okay, we have Davies, but I think he's good, but I don't think he's good enough. I think we may need a new left back or a new centre back because we did lose Vertonghen.
Yeah.
Now we have Sanchez, we have Dyer who's starting to play centre back now, and we have the new youngster Tanganga.
Yeah.
And from what we saw against Liverpool, he was outrunning Mane, and that's kind of crazy because
That
Mane is like one of the fastest players.
Yeah.
And he's had really good games. He's played on the left, he's played on the right, he's played as centre back.
Mhm. I think
So
Mourinho likes
we have him.
Yeah.
We also have people like Sessegnon who plays on the wing, or he plays as a left back. So and I think he's going to be really good. We have quite a few good young players like Parat, Sessegnon, Tanganga, and we've been really showing our young players in our friendly games. So I do say we have a good chance, especially if we buy a new centre back or full back, and then a new striker or a winger. Now, what I would love if Gareth Bale to come back. He doesn't like where he is.
Yeah.
And
It
I feel
could
like
happen,
all the
you
fans
know.
want him back. It could. He hinted that he wants to come back to the Premier League. So
Yeah.
if we do get him, and we were linked with Dybala at one point. If we get someone like him as well, I think I give him a really high chance to actually win for once. So who knows? But I feel like if they're consistent this season and they actually play and they try their hardest, I feel like they could be placed higher. But for now, I've got them in third from like last year's performance.
Yeah. So I've mentioned my third team with Liverpool. Now we get to the top two. In second, I have Chelsea. My team. I mean, dude, oh my God. Watching this transfer window as a Chelsea fan has been such a good feeling. It's arguably one of the best transfer windows of all time. Kai Havertz, Werner, Ziyech, Thiago Silva, all these class players that we definitely needed. And we already had some decent players like Mount, Giroud, Pulisic, one of the best players since the start, Kovacic. And it's our second year with Lampard. I think if the team gels well, we can definitely push for winning the Prem.
Yeah.
However, the reason I have not Chelsea winning, I think we both have the same team winning. Looking at the just thinking about it, I don't think you have Chelsea winning either. But it all depends on the chemistry. But I think the first few games we have a relatively rough start to the season with decent opposition. But if they can gel well, I still think our defense will hold us back. We still lack that one quality center back better than Zuma. You never know. Maybe Zuma can really develop this offseason, or Tamori. But right now, besides Silva, and I mean, Silva's 35, dude. And he's not prime Thiago Silva that we've seen in Milan or PSG. So again, our defense is still holding us back. And we still have that trash cannon goal, Kepa Arrizabalaga, dude. He's horrible. But at least supposedly, I think today or tomorrow, I think it's too late in the UK now, but tomorrow, Edouard Mendy might get announced. So I think that might be... I remember with De Gea and United, they signed a guy like Mendy to not a world-class goalkeeper, but someone to give De Gea a challenge. You never know. That same could happen with Kepa. And I mean, Petr Cech believed in him, so you never know. But I think our defense will hold us back from winning a championship this year. But with Havertz being so young, Werner being young, our team being a young team, I think good times are coming for Chelsea in the next few years. Not this season, though.
Yeah, I'd place them in second as well.
Yeah.
I mean, this transfer window has been absolutely insane for Chelsea, and the fact that they've bought so many amazing players.
Yeah.
Werner with like over 20 goals in the Bundesliga, pretty much carrying Leipzig.
Yeah, only for 50 million. Havertz for only 70. These guys are worth like 70 or 100 million. Ziyech
at least
like 35. Yeah, at least. So
I think the fact that you're getting all these players shows good signs. I just feel like you're getting them for the wrong areas now. Like, you don't need Ziyech and Havertz and Werner, and because you have like good talent. You have Giroud, who I don't like very much. I feel like he's not good enough.
Yeah.
I mean, but you have people like Abraham. You got rid of Willian, which I didn't agree with as well, because he was a great player. I feel like he was one of your better players, but you have people like Christian and you have Mount, and those are both amazing players, but where you lack is definitely your defense. You have Chilwell, but I don't think he's all that great.
And I think he's more of he's attacking fullback. He's not gonna shore up our defense. He's gonna...
You have people like Alonso and Aston Laqueta, but they're also not really good enough. They make too many mistakes, and I feel like that's gonna hang them down. But once again, you have people like Kante as well and Kovacic, so you have a great midfield and good attack, but it's your defense that's really letting you down.
And goalkeeper.
Yeah. That's why I put them in second.
So I think we both
I put City.
Manchester City. Yeah. I mean, dude, top manager in Pep Guardiola, top talent. I think the best player in the Premier League in Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling, Jesus, Aguero, and then in the defense they have Laporte. I think what held them back last year was their defense. I mean, to start the season, Laporte got injured. Fernandinho had to convert to center back. It just never was good. But now they're making signings, and they also signed Ferran Torres, a great young prospect for them. If they get Koulibaly, it's over. But hopefully they don't. Yeah. I think defense is what helped them back, and if they don't get injuries, honestly, I don't wish injuries on anyone. That's just a horrible thing to do. But I think that's the only thing that will hold City back from getting yet another title.
I mean, that, and I think sometimes they can be a shaky team. When they get nervous, they do like choke under pressure, like they did against Norwich.
Chelsea game and the Norwich game, the Wolves game, Chelsea game in the restart, like that mistake that Mendy made then forced then a penalty that Willian scored. They 2 goals that could not have been goals
Yeah.
due to their nervousness in the situation, which was surprising.
I think City, if they play well, will easily get first.
Yeah.
If they play like they did the previous seasons, they'll easily get first. Like some of the games in the restart and before that, they were dropping 5-0 games,
Yeah.
5-1 games. So they have the talent, they have the players. Sterling, I think, he's one of those players that's like, are you going to play well today or are you going to play crap today?
Yeah, that's true.
Half the time he'll have a tap in, like we saw in the Champions League, and he'll put it right over the goal.
Yeah.
And then half the time you'll see him scoring, like falling over, heading it in, or something like that, and it'll be like amazing.
Yeah, and yeah, like
I think Aguero has lost all of his talent as well now. I don't think he's as good as he used to be. He's pretty much now just a bench player. He comes off the bench for Jesus or Sterling. I feel like, yes, they have a great team. Yes, they'll probably win because they're one of the best teams in the world.
yeah.
But I think those top 3, 4, 5 teams, mainly top 3, though, I think would probably be the number 3 contenders for
I think
first.
anyone from City, Chelsea, Liverpool, or Tottenham can win.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the 4 teams I have. But as of now, I'm gonna go with City.
Yeah, right now I've got City just because I feel like they're the strongest team player-wise. They
Yeah.
have the most money. If they get Messi next season, if they get like
Koulibaly.
Koulibaly, and then it's over. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna win the Premier League, and it won't even be fair at that point.
For real. All right, thank you so much, Connor. It was a great video. I hope
Thank
you
you for
guys.
inviting me.
Thanks for sticking around for this long. You'll definitely see Connor in more Premier League videos now that the season is restarting. This channel has had some different videos, COVID chats, cricket videos. Now we'll have a Premier League video, but that's what this channel is going to be. So I hope you guys are excited for some new content. Thanks for watching.